Thank you guys for joining tonight. I'm really excited to be here because we have some good topics for the beginner and intermediate, or somebody who doesn't shoot flash and is kind of scared to get into flash. I didn't set my timer and I need to because I talk a lot. There you go. So today we're going to break out the mystery of why this gear, where should I start, all of that good stuff, because there's so many options out there that we want to help you making smart decisions. Not only make decisions, making smart decisions. I wish when I started photography there was somebody to tell me what I'm just about to tell you, because I bought a bunch of stuff that I used for some point but didn't last long on my career, and I kept buying stuff that didn't fit in my arsenal of equipment. So that's what you're going to talk about tonight. I'm going to show you, we're going to break down on my light setup, what I use. We're going to break down on pricing. We're going to break down everything, and we're going to answer the questions that you have. I have to say, Jeff. All right, so let's talk about, before we start talking about the topic tonight, let me answer some questions. I have some questions from last week and some other stuff. So question number one is, why is it important to buy into an ecosystem and not mix flash brands? That is a very good question. Huge mistake I made in the beginning of my career. Buy this flash, buy that flash, and those flashes didn't talk to each other. So why do you need to buy, should we be buying into an ecosystem? Have the ecosystem mentality and figure out why. Let's figure out why you need to do that. One reason is that everybody starts with one light setup. This is like everybody. You buy a speed light and you swear for the rest of your life, this is what I'm going to need. You know what? As you evolve your photography, as you want to learn more, as you learn more, you're going to need more lights. One light's not going to be enough. You're going to take this light and put a remote. You're going to shoot it off outside of the camera, and you're going to need some equipment for that, which I'm going to show you. So you're going to need more light, which is important because when you get everything from the same brand, from this ecosystem that I keep talking about, one trigger, which is this guy here, because at this point you're going to be using the light on the top of your camera, right? So, but at some point you need to move this light away from the top of the camera, and you're going to use a trigger to trigger and control, not only trigger and control your light off camera. Okay, so as you learn, as you progress into your flash photography career, you're going to need more lights. You're going to start doing some fun stuff, some fun gelling, some fun stuff that I have shown you, and you're going to need more lights. So what happens is that if this flash is one brand and all the other lights are different brand, this trigger can only fire and control this flash. It's not going to fire and control all the other ones. Then you have a trouble, right? So that's why it's important to buy into the same brand, buy into the same ecosystem. And when you're choosing a brand, which brand to buy, choose a brand that has a variety of flashes, not only speed light, not only strobes, have a variety, because you're going to see, we're going to be talking about this, and you're going to see that it is important to have different lights because of power. So that's why you should really buy into a ecosystem. Think about the future. When you buy gear today, think about the future, okay? So, and then we have the second question. Do you always bring backup gear with you when you go to a shoot, such as batteries, SD cards, and such? Great question. Yes, yes, yes. I usually say lack of preparation is the keys of death. You can't be more prepared. You can't be shooting and you can't be thinking, oh, do I have enough battery? Do I have my battery charged? And this is so funny that this question came in today, because a few hours before we started this live, I got a text message from a buddy of mine, a photographer, a great photographer, asking me, you live in Durham, right? And I said, well, I live in Chapel Hill. So we have an emergency. He said, you have an emergency. I have a friend of mine who is at Duke Garden shooting a family right now, and he forgot his trigger at home. So he can only use flash on the top of the camera, right? And I told him, well, I have extra triggers here I could borrow, but I can't leave the house right now. I can't go there and deliver it because I have this life to do. So he said, okay, fine. So found somebody else. But that's why preparation is everything. I always charge everything that I'm going to use next day. I don't care if it has been charged before and I need to use it. I never trust on leaving my battery inside the speed light, for instance, and go like for about a week. And I don't trust that battery has charge. So I charge everything. I bring backup batteries. I have way too much stuff that I bring with me because we've been in situations where one flash just stopped firing, it overheated, and we just put another flash in there and go. So yes, definitely, always have your backup gear with you. What's the point of having a backup gear if it's at home? There's no point in that, right? All right, so the third question is it okay to shoot everything or should you stick with a specific genre? That's not a flash related question, but let's answer it. That's fine. So yes, it's important in your career, your photography career, to specialize in something. People need to know you for one type of photography. Doesn't mean you don't shoot everything else. When I introduce myself to people, I go, hi, I'm Clay Souza, I'm a wedding photographer. You go to my website, you hit by wedding on the homepage. But you also have the high school senior page, you also have the family page, you also have the maternity page, but the main goal is to shoot weddings. So that's what I want to sell. So you look at my Instagram, my photography Instagram, not this one, you're gonna see more wedding photography, more engagement photography than anything else. So it's important, just think about this. If you need to do an operation, you go to a specialist, you don't go to a general practice. Right? So it's the same thing. A bride will not hire a photographer who shoots everything. It's a tough one, but it is what it is. You need to make decide where you want to put all your eggs and put most of them there and spread the other ones a little bit around. But if you want to be known as a wedding photographer or a boudoir photographer or a family photographer, your website, your social media needs to talk about the genre that you want, be it wedding, be it boudoir, be it family. And everything needs to be concise. I cannot go to your website and see everything boudoir, and then I go to your Instagram and I see everything family. No, it needs to be concise. It needs to point everybody to the same direction. Okay? Good. So that's great. Let's talk about gear now, right? And don't hesitate to ask questions as you go along. Okay, so I'm a Canon shooter. Okay, I shoot Canon. I have been shooting Canon since the very beginning, and that was just because, oops, my light just died on me. Can you check on that, babe? That's probably my battery that's not fully charged. Exchange the battery, babe. Still have, see, backup batteries right here. Put those ones in there. There's you push a button and lift it up, I guess. Right here, babe, both of them, and that's the side it goes down. So, where was it? Okay, I'm a Canon shooter. Yeah, that's definitely battery. Yeah, so I'm a Canon shooter. Yeah, you have two batteries, babe. Gotta put the other one too. Yeah, I'm a Canon shooter by accident. You just start with Canon, and I love it. And we will. I can get distracted here with those batteries thing. All right, you have both of them there? Yeah. Okay, cool. Get good light again. So I'm a Canon shooter. But I don't use Canon flashes. I don't. I never use. I think I owned one at the very beginning of my career. Again, those things that you just do because you don't know what to do. So what I use this brand here called Flashpoint, right? And let me tell you this. I have no affiliation with any of those brands that I'm going to talk about tonight, right? So, but there's no way to talk about this without pointing brands and stuff. So why do I, can you write that question for me so I come back to it?
Yeah.
You write that down because you follow the question there. So Dan is here with me today. I didn't introduce her.
It's
She's
okay,
right
no
here.
problem. I'm the backup.
So I use the Flashpoint brand for a few reasons. Why? That's the Zoom Lion R2. Let me point. Michelle is asking which brand. Zoom Lion R2. That's the one that I use. Okay. So why do I use this brand? One, it has been proven that works. This brand here, Flashpoint, is the same thing you probably have heard of the Godox. Okay. It's the same thing, exactly same thing. The only thing that Adorama brought it to the United States and branded Flashpoint. And the other one is the Godox, I think is the original name of it. So these flashes are made in China. They're not very expensive, but I've had this flash for a long time, okay? And let me tell you why I have this guy. One, it fits into my ecosystem. Two, let me give you a price difference. This guy here today at Adorama website is costing $161, okay? One Canon Speedlight, just like this one, costs $499. So that's $161 against $499.
3 times more.
So 3 times more. I can break 3 of those and
Buy another one.
just buy another one. It's going to be the same price. All right. Michelle is asking if Flashpoint will communicate with Godox. Yes, it will. The software is the same thing, so you communicate, right? So this guy over here is I have 6 of those. Okay, I just keep buying gear. I have 6 of those. A lot of them was used by backup. But again, like I said, I go to Eddie's. I take all my 6 flash, even if I'm not going to use it. I take them because, like I said, I've had situations where we're shooting reception and we shoot like boom, boom, boom. Me and Danny shooting from one single flash. So we have one flash over here, another one over here, and Danny and myself shooting all the time. The flash overheated, and it stopped working. And I get this blinking thing on my trigger. Flash overheated. No, hold on. I don't think I get a signal here, but I'm shooting and I'm looking at the image coming dark and I shoot it, test the flash not firing. I get there and I see a symbol here that's overheated. So just go and swap it and keep moving, right? When you shoot wedges, there's no time to stop. So cheap and good and reliable. Now, with that said, I have a friend who probably is going to join us a little bit later today that he shoots Sony and he had some issues with Godox. He has like a lot of misfire with those flashes. So I never had that issue. Many people in the United States today in the world are using this kind of flashes. So I call it reliable. But I have this one friend of mine who had issues with it. So you just need to find what works for you. So another great thing about this is that with this guy here, which is the trigger, okay, this is the trigger, you can control this guy,
There he is.
this guy, and this little monster over here.
Brandon.
Okay, yeah. This is a 600 watts. This is a 200 watts. And this is 50 watts. So one of this has the power of 4 of this, right? And one of this is heavy. One of this has the power of 12 of this. Okay. So now you're gonna ask me why? Why do you have to have this AD200, this 200 watts? And I'm gonna share a picture with you just to answer that question. Let me share this picture that I found. I was browsing one of my flash books and I saw this picture here. You see this picture, this guy is teaching how to use flash. One of my books that I bought in 2018 or 19, I guess. So, and I saw that guy. Yeah, Brando, we're talking about you. So I saw this picture and then he does a close-up of the light. He's shooting like 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a shaded area. And he did a close-up of what's in his umbrella. Let me show you the close-up. I thought, oh, this is fantastic. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flashes to overpower the sun. 5 of those to overpower the sun at 12 p.m. on the shade. He's not on the sun, he's on the shade, right? Or in the shade, whatever you say it. So, prepositions in English. Oh, all right. See how close that umbrella is from the model? He needs 5 of those to overpower the sun, when he could have 1 of those. So that's why, can you imagine the time to set up something like this? The time it takes to set up something like this? Because they are firing on the same direction, they probably fire on the same power. If this is just to light the model. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. Today, we don't have to have that anymore. Today, one of these guys here will do the job of 5 of those. It's much easier to manage. Or you could use one big one and keep that in lower power if you want to. Right? You don't need to use full power all the time. So that's one of the reasons why we have so many gear like this. No, let me just close this. Yeah. So that's why we have this much gear. But I'll tell you, shooting for 7 years now, and those 3 is all I need right now. And those guys are coming with like a bunch of different models of those here and this guy. Today, when I start buying this brand, they have those 3. They have the speed lights, they have the 200 watts, and they have the 600 watt. Now they have this in 100, this in 200, this in 300. Correct me, I don't even read those things because I think it's just ridiculous. Like 300 watts. Why do I want a 300 watts when I have a 200 watts over here? It doesn't make sense to me. I want something that's going to be powerful to overpower the sun at 12 o'clock in the afternoon without having to add more. Now they have one of these, I think it's like 800 watts or 1200 watts. That is becoming a little bit interesting. That has caught my eye. But I really don't know if I'm going to go that direction. I'm always looking for more power so I can carry less and less gear. There is a cool thing about this system also. It's really brand independent, meaning all you need to change, if you change cameras, today I'm shooting Canon, let's say for someday I just go crazy and decide to change to Nikon or change to Sony. All I need to do is to buy this new trigger here. I don't need to buy each unit of those separate. This trigger, I can trigger as long as I have this is a Canon, which word I'm looking for? This is a Canon trigger, right? This is a flash point for Canon cameras. You can see, you look at the name here, down here there's a little C in there. Where is it? Which direction do I go? There's a little C here. I don't know if it's focusing or not, but after the R2 Pro, there's a little C for Canon. The Nikon, there's a little N, and the Sony, there's an S. Because those contact points here, they are different from camera to camera. But it doesn't change these guys. You don't need to buy new ones. So what happens if you buy a, yeah, Jeff, R2 Pro C trigger? That's what for Canon. R2 Pro N trigger would be the Nikon and so and so. So what happens if I have like a Canon flash, and I'm not hating on Canon. They make great flashes, but they're expensive. If I had a Canon flash and I changed brands, I would have to change all my lighting gear. So that's another great reason to get those guys, because they really work. So I don't want to focus this conversation on the gear that I know. I want to bring somebody here to help us, because I shoot Canon. I think Jeff shoots Nikon. I'm going to bring Jeff to the screen to talk a little bit about his experience, because each camera is different, guys. Each brand, each camera maker makes it different. I kind of want to get the perspective of other people. So because I know some of you may shoot Canon, some of you may shoot Sony, and let's bring Jeff in here and get Jeff to talk about what his experience is with the Nikon triggers and the Nikon camera. And so that's Jeff. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, guys.
How's it going, brother?
Good.
Jeff is a great photographer located in Raleigh and a great friend of ours. He's always helping us in the weddings and stuff. Jeff it's like family. So Jeff, you shoot Nikon, right?
Yes.
So
10 years now.
10 years shooting Nikon. I'm not to convince you to move to the seaside, but that's fine. That's fine. I still like you, Jeff. But the whole, I mean, want to get photographers fired is the whole Canon and Nikon thing, right? Yep. So let's not go there. So talk to us a little bit for a few minutes about your experience with Nikon flashes.
Yeah, I started years ago with the Nikon, and I started with the Nikon flashes. I had some SB700 and SB810, and I was using Nikon's, what they call it, CLS or Creative Lighting System. And it basically uses the pop-up flash in the camera body as in commander mode. So instead of having a trigger on top of the camera, you're using the pop-up flash to fire your off camera. Yeah.
You mean the pop-up flash, the one that comes with the camera, or a speed light?
No, it comes with the camera. So if you put your camera on, it's just a little pop-up flash, and go into your menu system, you can set that up for manual or commander mode, and that will fire your speed light off camera through infrared, which it is a good system for inside, but I found its shortcomings were it's a line of sight system, and it doesn't do very well outside in the bright sunlight. But you can.
So you think that? Do you think the daylight will mess up with the infrared?
I just found it too unreliable. That's why when I started looking for a new system, I went into the Flashpoint system.
So you use Flashpoint also?
Yes. The flashes that you use now, and the new the R2 roundhead speed lights they come out with now are compatible with the CLS system. But
interesting.
But a new R Pro 2 trigger is only $9. But the other thing I didn't like about the CLS system was Nikon doesn't have any kind of strobes, or you're limited to the flashes, the speed lights. That's all they have.
Yeah. That's another shortcoming of those branded flashes, right? They don't have big strobes like the 600. They just have the speed lights, right?
Yeah, it's just the speed lights themselves. So, if I wanted to overpower the sun, I'd be like that guy with the umbrella with the 5 or 6 Yongnuo flashes that he had in there. But I mean, for just learning, I mean, if you already have a speed light and you want to learn the system, it's basically the same as using the R Pro trigger and the Flashpoints, because you're still going through the same motions. You're just using a different way of getting there.
Yeah. I mean, that's another good point that Jeff brings up, because those brand cameras, they don't have those brand flashes. They don't have a big variety of lighting, and you don't want to be having to use like 5 of those to light a model. I mean, and you also restricted on the amount of gear, the amount of room you have to shoot, right? So you kind of want to move around, yeah.
And they do make a radio transmitter, but you have to have a certain camera body. I have 2 750s, but that's not compatible with the radio transmitter. Some of the other cameras that they have, like the D500 on the DX range, uses that transmitter, but it's another $300-400 just for that transmitter alone. So
yeah, and Mark is bringing a great point here. Mark is saying, when I upgrade my Nikon body, I would have to upgrade to the newer Nikon flashes. was
Yes.
like $550. I mean, that's another point. When they release new cameras, sometimes that camera doesn't talk to that flash that you have.
That's for the SB5000. And
Yeah.
their lowest, they have three flashes now. They've kept the SB700, which is a tank. If you can find
Okay.
you find one of them used, it's really good. You can still buy them new for like $329, and then they got an SB500 for $249. But I think if I was just starting off again, I would do what I did now. I would go just straight into the Flashpoint system. And
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate, man. Appreciate your input, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, bye. So I hate to sound like this is a Flashpoint Godox commercial, right? So I'm gonna ask Brandon to join in because Brandon shoots Sony, and he has had a hell of a time with those Godox things, right? So Brandon, did I invite you? Brandon, send request. There he is. Hey buddy, how's it going? I can hear you, buddy.
Uh-oh, can you hear me?
There you go. Now I can hear you. Look at that print on the back there. Look at that print. That man is amazing. He does amazing work out of Washington, D.C. Amazing. I love that image, buddy. So Brandon shoots, you used to shoot Canon, right, Brandon?
Yes, I started off as a Canon.
And then mirrorless cameras came and you went to the dark side.
Yeah, I piecemealed, switched into Sony 2017. But I shot both brands for about a year. So I had a 5D Mark IV and a Sony A9. And now I'm awesome.
Okay, and I know, I mean, we are good friends. We're great friends. I second shot for Brandon. Brandon has second shot for me. And I recently shot his engagement session in Charleston. I have some beautiful pictures there. Can you hear me, Brandon? I just think I lost him. Yeah. All right, so let me see here. Let me call Brandon again. Let me see if he comes back.
Yeah, it bumped. It kicked me off.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, it kicked me off. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but I think you're frozen. Let me remove you from here and invite you again. Okay.
Okay.
Moving. Sorry, guys. It is technology challenges. No, let me invite him again. Invite to join Brandon, because Brandon has some really good, interesting experience to talk about. So I really want to hear about him from him. There you go. You're back.
That's this corner condo crap.
So talk to me about your experience with Godox, because I know wasn't the best one.
No. So yeah, I started off with Canon, but when I switched over to Sony, and we got into the battery-powered strobes, because I initially started with Alien Bees, and then had Einstein, which is supposed to be the upper-class version of the Alien Bees from Paul Buff. Dumped those, obviously, because I hated carrying a battery pack, and got into the Flashpoint version of Godox. I think they're beautiful, the 8200, and I had a 400 Pro. But my main concern was the speed lights in the 8200s misfired a lot for me. And with the Sony system, one of the curious things that I had to find out the hard way during one of my earlier weddings with Godox was that you have to have, in the Sony menu, you have to turn off external flash. It's like a menu item there. You have to turn it off for the Godox to fire. Whereas Pro Photo, you leave it on. But a lot of problems with line of sight. I heard the gentleman earlier talking about line of sight with what he was using. But when I first started, they started off great. And I had two 8200s on an engagement session. And one of them, I did hold the light behind the bride and groom to be. and shooting under our umbrella.
Yeah.
It was raining. Another one we had behind. We were at the Union Station, and we had a colored gel on it. But
Okay.
the one with the couple, there was no line of sight, no wraparound. I guess it was too close to the body.
Oh,
Would
yeah.
never fire. So in all honesty, the only usable shot I got was the test shot.
Oh my goodness.
And
Wow.
so luckily it was good enough that we pulled something out of it. After that, the only one that fired was the gels. Now, when it came to the V1s coming out for Godox, you know, every wedding I shot four to five weddings with them. Every single time, one of them went, not necessarily went down, but just stopped firing.
Wow.
And then you have to figure out, for me, to have to go through the menu, figure out what's wrong. You know, luckily, when we're skilled or used to weddings, right, we figure shit out fast, right?
Yeah.
Or I just take the one light down and know how to use whatever, because I use 4 speed lights, 2 on camera, and then 2 across the dance floor.
Yeah.
But yeah, just for me, I think it's a great system for the price. I know a lot of people talk about Profoto and how expensive it is, and it is expensive. But for me, what did it for me, I think it was actually the last wedding you shot with me. And it just, once you saw it, it would not fire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And instead of, I could have panicked and folded 5 years ago, but, you know, just worked our way around it. And I think later on it started firing. That, as far as the strobes, I've never had an issue with the 400. But the ADs, they got into, and we were talking about the triggers. I heard him talking about the triggers earlier. Once I did get the Pro 2 trigger, they started being more consistent. But again, I would hear stuff from other photographers' feedback saying that there's like some proximity from the trigger to the flash. And for me, if I'm out there shooting, I don't want to have to worry about all that.
Yes.
You know, granted, the Profotos, I will say, are highly priced, but I love them. I love the streamline. I love the simplicity. And
They're great lights, yeah.
Yeah, and I never have a problem. So I had to make a decision. Like I said, I piecemealed, bought one Profoto B1 5 years ago, got it on sale for like one of those education programs, $600 off, can't beat it. Then I got 2 Profoto D2s, which I use the 3 strobes in studio. And then I got the 4 A1s in beginning of 2020, actually beginning of 2019, because I had LLC'd, and I just used my tax return. What the tax return I got from the business is what I reinvested in my lighting, and I haven't looked back since. I actually kept 2 AD200s, but those have both since gone down now. So now I'm just strictly no matter what Profoto.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that people don't realize, people who don't shoot wedding, they don't realize how terrifying it is when you are shooting a wedding and some of your gear just fails on you.
Right.
It is, if you shoot a reception, it's fine. You have time to go there and just, but imagine you're shooting a bride coming down the aisle and your gear fails.
Yep.
Because weddings, there's no do-over. Everything else you could reschedule and do it again and do a reshoot. Not on weddings. Not on weddings. So it has to be, you have to trust your gear. And I don't care what you use. I don't care what nobody use. I don't care what anybody use. As long as you trust your gear and can do the work that you need to do, that's what matters. If it's Profoto, it is Flashpoint. And you're talking about proximity. I remember at some time in the beginning, I was shooting like Yongnuo, and they had an issue. If the flash was too close to the trigger, they wouldn't fire. They just would not fire. It was a non-issue, and doesn't matter which model it was, it would not fire. So it's not reliable, and if it's not reliable for wedding photographers, it doesn't matter. So that's the type of thing that we need to be concerned about, and that's why we're talking about gear here, because there's so many variety of gear out there, but what really works and what works for you. Brandon, I appreciate you coming by, because I know you were in a hurry, you were doing something else. I appreciate you stopping by and giving feedback, buddy. Thank you.
No problem.
So another thing that I want to talk about quick here, I don't want to go into 1 hour on this, is like what do you need to get started? What do you need to get started? First thing you're gonna need is a light stand. Get me a light stand, please. You need one of those guys, light stand. And I made a post
They're
about
not light.
no, the light stand, but not light.
No.
So you can find light ones, but those are not good. And let me tell you about this guy. Do not go cheap on those guys. Do not go cheap on light stand. Our tendency in the beginning is to buy cheap light stands because you think it's fine
Great.
if you're going to hold this guy there. But when you start using like heavier gear, like this guy is heavy. I would never put this guy on a cheap light stand because those guys will fold.
Break.
The cheap ones,
And
they will
fall.
they will fall, they will break your gear. And then you have to buy another light stand and another piece of gear. So do not go cheap on those guys. So I bought this guy. These are Manfrotto. They're great ones. We have this for a while, right, babe?
Yep.
We have 4 of those.
After that, we never break.
And we this is taking a beating. I throw them in the car. I throw them just being in the water, sand, being all over, and it's still here working strong. So this one is not that even expensive. This one is what I was looking at the pricing today. $125. This guy here, $125. So I really like this stand, and they have a neat feature here. If you get another one, you can attach one to another to carry, and they have a nice carrying bag and that type of stuff. Another thing that we use a lot also, remember when we talked about the light, I don't remember if it was a live or was the sunset, the fake sunset thing that we did. We use a lot of monopod, right? Because I had my voice activated light stand called Danny. So she holds the light. This thing's cool because
And Jeff.
and Jeff also, yeah. So she can hold it at an angle and create like a nice fake sunset there. So this is just a monopod, right? I actually bought this guy here when I used to shoot motorcycle races. I bought this guy because I saw a bunch of people were using them. I hated it. I hated shooting it. I shoot manually, holding my hand, doing the panning by hand. I tried to do panning of this, would go like all over, but not get anything good. So good light stand, decent light stand. Also, this guy here. So one speed light to start with. Always start with one light. You don't need more than one light when you're starting because you're going to learn a lot from this. And the trigger. That's all you need to start your flash photography career. And that's going to cost you what? $355. $355 today. That's going to cost you one light stand, just like that one speed light, and one trigger. If you're going to go Canon brand, right? If you buy the same speed light that I have, I'm sorry, the same light stand that I showed you, and if you're going to buy a trigger speed, a Canon speed light, and if you're going to buy a Canon trigger because that's what you need, you're going to spend $909. That's a big difference, guys. And at least it's for me. Maybe you guys are loaded. You don't think that's so much money, but yeah, for me, it's a lot of money. So I think that's all what I have to talk to you today. Let me know, do you guys have any questions for me? There's a question that came early from Chris. Is it possible to create natural light effect with flash? Yes, great question. Yes, because that's a huge fear from natural light photographers when they go from natural light into flash. They're always afraid they're not going to be able to create the same type of lighting pattern. Yeah, but the difference is not on the light. The difference is on the type of modifier you use. The bigger the modifier, the softer the light's going to be. That's going to recreate the general, the look of a natural light. Okay? Do we have any more questions? No questions? All right. If not, thank you so very much for watching this. And we are here every Monday and Wednesday, dropping some bombs about flash photography, helping beginners and intermediate and people who want to make a move from natural light into flash photography. So we are here to help you. We post every single day on my Instagram at Clay Souza Official. Did you guys see? Did you guys see the Did you guys watch the story that I did with Danny? Because she was making fun of the way I was starting my live thing, and she was like, "You need more energy." If you didn't watch, go back to the story and watch what she did. It was hilarious. I was laughing this afternoon. So one question is, what's the model number on the stand? So it's right here on the side here. Oh, she's breaking the house.
Sorry.
She's breaking the house. Let me see if I can read this. So the model number is 1004 B as in boy, A, C as in Clay. 1004 boy, apple, Clay. Okay, that is the model. All right. So thank you so very much for joining. And if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our Instagram feed, which is at Clay Souza Official. And every Monday and Wednesday at 8:08 p.m. Eastern Time, we're doing live videos, talk about flash photography. And hopefully I have in mind next week, I'm going to plan for next week, we do an outside shoot, showing you the real time things happening. Okay? Thank you so very much, guys. Have a great night. Bye.